Today on the Big 3 in 30, Michigan State falls to rival Michigan.
I actually like a little bit what I saw from Michigan State tonight despite the loss.
BYU picks up a quality win over Texas Tech.
Huge win over Texas Tech. Snapped a 3-game losing skid.
And Wisconsin knocks off Purdue.
Shots were just dropping left and right on both sides.
This is the Big 3 in 30 College, the 3 biggest stories on campus from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The Big 3 in 30 College starts now. Thank you for making the Big 3 in 30 your first listen of the day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Michigan State faced off against rival Michigan in a top 10 matchup to close the regular season, but it couldn't quite get the win. After taking the L, Matt Sheehan has the recap on Locked On Spartans.
It came to the tune of 90-80. Now, Tom Izzo did say in the post-game press conference, he said a lot, actually, but he did say that he was proud of his team. He was proud of how they played. I largely agree with him because, first and foremost, let me just upset you all right now. If you're looking to see me melt down about tonight's game, I actually don't think I could bring myself up to do it. Now, if you're a Michigan fan that likes seeing that from me, I'm sorry. If you're a Michigan State fan that wants validation about the anger you're feeling tonight, I also apologize for that too. But truly, and I don't do this after every MSU loss. I think my body of work shows that I will melt down when the time comes. But man, oh man, I got to say, I actually like a little bit what I saw from Michigan State tonight despite the loss. But that's not what we start the show with. We will start with the bad here. Okay, because, well, yeah, that'd be a little disingenuous to start talking about all the great things that happened in a double-digit loss. But here we go. Here's the bad. And when I want to circle or bold or italicize whatever it is that goes on top of the list here of all the things that went bad today, what is the headliner? I actually got to go back a few games here because this isn't a one-off moment, right? And this is a power outage on offense that Michigan State had. Now, this one, of course, came in the second half. They're up 61-57, and you're kind of feeling it, right? Like, oh my God, are they actually going to win? Are they going to hand Michigan their second conference loss? Lordy, things are looking good right now. And then, well, of course, you give up an 11-0 run. And that includes a nearly 5-minute power outage on offense when you are going from pretty much a 13-minute mark to almost the 8-minute mark with no points. And this is a theme that has been happening, well, recently, if not even further than recently. But let's just talk about the small sample size right here because, well, yeah, they had a power outage like this against Ohio State when they snuck away with the victory at home. They had a power outage late in the game in that great road win against Purdue, might I add. But they also had 4 points in the last 4 minutes combined, and that got to pucker time there at the end. Indiana, after starting the game so hot for the first 36 minutes, yeah, surprise, there was a lull for 5 minutes there at the end. Now, was that game ever in danger? No, but it was another example of, hey, Michigan State's offense, they can have these 4-5-minute spurts where they are just begging for anyone to throw the ball at the bottom of the net, and it doesn't happen. Now, look, they got away with it in Ohio State, Purdue, Indiana, but here is a shining example of when we've done those post-game shows, because we have talked about those concerns even in a win, that, yeah, you can't do that in March against, good teams. Let's say you run into a 10 seed in the second round, or, you're playing against a spicy 3 seed in Sweet 16. You certainly also can't do it against a team that's a bona fide 1 seed like Michigan is. And you saw it right there today. Now, of course, giving up an 11-0 run, that's a twofold issue, right? That's offense going stale. That's defense letting the other team get out and playing their game as well. So, look, Izzo said it after the game. We saw it with our eyeballs. They had, and when I say the Wolverines had 2 moments where they were just racking up offensive rebound after offensive rebound, and they scored twice on offensive rebounds during that run. Doesn't seem like a lot, but that was truly the game. Now, of course, a lot of people have pointed to Denim Mojic entering the game just for a fleeting moment, but man, things started to go off the rails, and if you've listened to Lockdown Spartans in the last few weeks, you know that I agree with that. That is a massive, massive flaw with this team and outright bizarre decision-making from this coaching staff. A coaching staff that I love more than most family members in my life. This isn't a Slander Izzo episode, but we'll get to the Wojcik conversation later on here. Guys, you gave up 6 second chance points in the second half. Doesn't seem like much, but Michigan State, of course, against such a great front court like Michigan, you didn't get many in the second half. I believe it was just 2 second chance points in the second half. You didn't get a lot from Cohen Carr and Jordan Scott in this game. They had a combined 4 of 15 shooting. Now, maybe this is where I'm starting to lose my fastball. Maybe I'm starting to lose my edge. The old Matt maybe would have turned red in the face, demanded both these kids transfer to Duquesne or IUPUI, if that's even the name of the school anymore. But I think that a small sample size of one game, you know what, call me crazy. I'm not going to say Cohen Carr and Jordan Scott are bums. I think the body of work speaks a little larger than what happened today. Now, the bench, this will be a concern going into March Madness here. How much can the bench actually give you? Now, when we say the bench, we, of course, at this point primarily mean Cam Ward, Kerr Tang. Cam Ward, I love the kid. He's awesome. High effort. He also loves to foul. And we saw that in spades today. Now, you just got 8 points from all your bench players. Of course, all of them from Kerr Tang. You already know you're going to get nothing from Denim Wojcik. We saw McCulloch come into the game early here, and I think that was because, well, we had some early foul issues going on. But, yeah, the bench is going to be not even like a sneaky underlying factor in March. No, that's going to be one of the keys of the game going into whether it's 2 more games or, let's see if I can do the math here, 9 more games left for our Michigan State Spartans. Now, of course, along with the other bad things that happened, yes, we had some Jeremy Fears nonsense. We will get to that later, of course. Don't think we're not just going to walk by that graveyard. No. This is a little podcasting trick. Stay for the second segment that we can talk about the Jeremy Fears stuff with. And then also, well, the icing on that cake is not just Michigan wins. We lose for the second time this year, but man, oh man, the cherry plopped on top of that turd cake was, Yaxel just won the Big Ten Player of the Year. Now, Jeremy Fears, he played solid too, but that's not, I doubt it's going to be enough for our guy Jeremy Fears to win Player of the Year, especially when you add in, well, what he had to show everyone in the first half of that game. Again, more on that later. Now, before we get into a break here, I do want to talk about the good here, right? Maybe, and if you're a Michigan State fan, you might not want to hear it. I understand. It might seem a little disingenuous. It might seem like I'm just trying to blow sunshine up your butt, but I truly mean this when I say, like, I actually leave this game feeling like this team is more ready for March than I already was going into this game here. I hearken back to 2015, and don't look at a calendar because that was 11 years ago. My goodness gracious, a whole lifetime has come and gone since that happened, but MSU had a Big Ten tournament championship game against Wisconsin, and they just had a fine regular season. They got into the tournament, played really well, and they played against a awesome Wisconsin team so close in that tournament championship game where I left that game feeling like, sounds weird, I feel like this team is peaking now, though. Based on the last week of work, and arrest me for excusing the end of that Rutgers game, which should have been a 13-point victory, got really wonky, but the last week of work here at Purdue, at Indiana, and even against guys, I don't like to say it, you don't like to hear it, an incredible Michigan team, I kind of side with Tom Izzo here. And boy, does he always tell the absolute truth whenever he's in front of a microphone. So when he says that, quote unquote, I ain't no one's little brother, which, by the way, I actually loved his press conference. He was fiery after this one, but more so saying, quote, I'm really proud of my team and how they played and how they did. He's not BSing anyone here. He's not saying that just to make his guys feel a little better. No, that's a Tom Izzo that just verbally can lash his team after some losses. And I actually agree with him. You played against guys, I'll say it again. It pains me physically to say this, a very, very good Michigan team that's going to compete for a national title. You played them, a team that shot 9 more free throws than you and seemingly made all of them. The box score said they missed 3. I don't remember any of those 3. Anyway, shot damn near 50% from 3. They have an incredible front court. They out-rebounded you by just 3 rebounds. And, oh yeah, against that front court that absolutely terrorized you in the first matchup, Cooper and Kohler, who have been playing quite well as of late, they combined for 42 points, 14 boards. Jeremy Fears himself, solid game. I'm not going to call it the best game of the year so far for him, but 22 points, 9 assists, and of course 10 of those from the free throw line. But hey, that's basketball, baby. You try to get to that free throw line and win. I just asked Michigan. I'm certain that, anyone that knows what they're talking about on that side can tell you that, yeah, free throws were also a big part of that game. So, look, I'm not worried about much. Colin Carr had a power outage today. Jordan Scott wasn't great. Yeah, that's probably the most uncomfortable situation that Jordan Scott has played in his young starting career. Colin Carr, you know what? Just arrest me for thinking that a guy that just had a 21-point performance against Rutgers, 11 crucial points against Purdue, not too long ago, 16 against UCLA, and then this gets lost in the wash here, but 19 points against Wisconsin. Yeah, I'm still high on Colin Carr. I think he's a good player. Call me crazy. Maybe I'm just misinformed, but yeah, not a great game from him tonight. Also, not a really ideal matchup against that front court. So, yes, it sucked. Like, do not take the last 5 minutes when I'm talking about things that happened that were on the good side and let you think that, oh, I'm just going to go to bed peacefully tonight. No, it's very annoying to lose to that team. It sucks. It does. It does. But, man, if I could just put on my objective hat here. Actually, I literally do have a hat. Just a locked-on hat, just a plain black hat. I would tell you that Michigan State, okay, against all odds, look better against Michigan than most teams do. If that's just defeated with dignity talk, so be it. But as we are throttling ourselves into March, I like the state of this team. I like how they're looking.
Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future and you'll be automatically entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
BYU picked up a top 10 win to help its tournament stock going into the Big 12 tourney. The Cougars took down the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, and Jake Hatch recaps on Locked On Cougars.
Saturday night, BYU got a huge win over Texas Tech, snapped a 3-game losing skid, really, I think, re-energized a lot of what BYU was striving for going into that game, and coming out of it with that W showed, at least me, and I think many of you out there, that this BYU team has the capability of beating top-tier programs, but I think the biggest thing to take away from it is I think they realize themselves what it will take to win at that level consistently in the postseason. Now, will BYU face the likes of Texas Tech in the first 2 rounds of the Big 12 tournament? No, they face off against Kansas State tomorrow evening. Should they win that game, they'll face off against West Virginia on Wednesday with the chance to potentially face Houston, who obviously is of that caliber, on Thursday. But I think BYU playing against Texas Tech, and as Kevin Young said it, essentially going out there and putting everything on the line. He talked about guys like Rob Wright puking into a trash can during one of the timeouts and the effort level that went into BYU winning this game. That is the type of effort that we, I think all of us, Cougar Nation and yours truly included, have been just asking for from this team. This is a program that for most of the years, Kevin Young said, has kind of had 3 different iterations of itself. Remember, they started the season essentially fully healthy, had Dawson Baker, had a couple other guys that went down due to injury in the early stanza. Then they kind of morphed and went to what they called their big 3 era, is what I would term it, in terms of saying, okay, Richie, AJ, Rob, you're going to lead us through this. And they did that until Richie got injured against Colorado, tore his ACL. And now they're in their 3rd iteration of trying to rely upon AJ and Rob to kind of steer this ship, but also get contributions from guys like Moo Davis, Hadim Boop, also Keba Keita. This team showed us that, yes, they can indeed win against some of the best teams in the country, but the effort level it took a lot out of this team. How often and how much can they replicate that? That will determine how deep this BYU team can go this month. It's called March Madness for a reason, because now is the time when those legends are made. The regular season is great and all. And yes, you can have uber success in the regular season. You can go high, you can go low. But when it comes to when you're remembered the most for what you do in a BYU uniform or literally any other college basketball player, it's this month. It's in March. It's in the Big 12 tournament. And obviously, when it comes to the NCAA tournament, yeah, those are when the legends are made. And if BYU can bottle up what they did against Texas Tech and replicate it on a larger scale. And I'm not necessarily saying that you have to do it literally every single night, because let's be real. If you've got guys puking into trash cans, okay, that seems not necessarily the best and most prudent way to go about this. But if you can get that same type of effort level, maybe not to the extreme of, puking into a trash can, that is going to engender, I think, a lot of confidence in this BYU basketball team that, yes, we can make a run here. Yes, we can do something positive and hopefully capitalize on what a pretty tough situation has been placed in front of us. BYU has got 6 different guys on the sideline due to either season-ending injury or ineligibility issues, and that's a significant chunk of their roster, especially considering the likes of Richie Saunders and Dawson Baker and what Nate Pickens was projected to do, among others. But what we saw Saturday night showed exactly, I think, what BYU needed to show is they can play a full 40 minutes. I'll be very honest. I don't think I had seen this BYU basketball team in the previous 30 games of the regular season play the full 40 minutes of any single game. And I'll give a shout out to guys like Running Rep D Humes, etc. on social media who use the term effort is a heck of a drug. Well, guess what? Effort is, but more importantly, it's putting that consistent effort out there for the entirety of the game. That is something BYU is routinely playing 20-minute halves and 30-minute games in terms of like their effort level matching what you would have expected. It took 31 games, but they finally played, felt like a full 40 minutes and put the full effort into that game. And the rewards were their second upset in 2 weeks' time of a top 10 team. And if you look at the bracketology, that win's got BYU solidly competing for a 6 or a 7 seed now, when it felt like had they lost that game, they could have slid all the way to maybe a 9, heck, even a 10 seed. So things are on the incline once again for BYU basketball, but they can fall right back off that cliff if you go out and put the type of effort that BYU put on the line against the likes of West Virginia and Cincinnati before Texas Tech. If you play 20 minutes or 30 or even 35 minutes and think that's enough, you're putting yourself in the danger zone once again, because this BYU team, I think, they've been up, they've been down, but what they experienced Saturday night was, okay, that is what it's going to take. And if we can do that, we're going to be pretty all right. So I hope they can do it. I hope they can go out there and show us very much what they're capable of, but they got a lot to prove. There's zero doubt about that.
Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future and you'll be automatically entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team could make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Not only can you pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 College. Wisconsin went to Purdue and got a big resume booster by beating the Boilermakers Saturday. Locked On Badgers goes over the win.
Justin, big picture thoughts, man. How are you doing today? And let's go Badgers.
I'm doing good. That was, I believe, at the end of the first half, I text Rajiv. I'm like, this game is nuts. And it was, because like shots were just dropping left and right on both sides. And that continued for the entirety of the game. Like, so many big shots were hitting this game. The refereeing was a little bit questionable in this one, but honestly, the right team won this game. Wisconsin just outplayed them, and they hit more big shots. It's a really awkward box score game when you look at it in terms of like the numbers are so like off the charts high in certain directions where you're like, this is definitely a one-off game because it's not like they'd had, it was a lot like Michigan in that way where we just shot the lights out and they couldn't stay with us enough to win it.
I mean, listen, anytime you shoot 52% from three, you're going to have a good day. And that's so that, listen, first and foremost, big picture, like I'm very impressed by a lot of things about this team. Number one, they were not intimidated by what is a daunting environment to play basketball. And I've said multiple times, Illinois, Purdue, those are two incredibly difficult atmospheres. What an amazing performance today. Now, listen, Purdue did no favors to themselves. They were just, how many wide open threes were they going to give us? Honestly, I was talking to one of my Purdue friends during the game, and he was telling me how they just constantly switch and they can't seem to defend anybody. Just take the open threes because we're going to get them. Honestly, we could have taken even more. Bieliauskas was just camping at the top of the lane when Boyd was doing all kinds of crazy stuff at the end. But yeah, man, I mean, listen, you all know I'm from Lafayette, Indiana, and I hate the Purdue Boilermakers just as much as I hate any, like IU too. And when we beat Purdue, it is truly an incredible moment. I mean, I just don't, as much as it's how happy I am.
Chief has bragging rights.
You better believe it, man. As happy as I am about this game, it just makes me wonder, like we go back to this, we play up to these opponents, we play down to some opponents. Like if we would have played like this against USC, against Oregon, we would have dominated them. But it gives me a lot of confidence. It's just so nice to have this kind of victory to end the Big Ten season. And let's just put into perspective, 14-6, Justin, 14-6 to end the Big Ten regular season. That is an incredible record. When we were staring down the barrel of where people were saying, us included, are we going to make the tournament? Are we on the bubble? We just won 14 Big Ten games with the undoubtedly the best slate of Big Ten victories of any team out there. Just unbelievable, man. Like I can't even get over how excited I am about this, to go into that arena and get a win. By the way, on senior day, Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Renn, Fletcher Lawyer, these guys are Purdue legends. They took them to Purdue's first Final Four, and we shut them down on senior day, man. Wow.
You know, the crazy thing is we have that 14-6 record, and somehow we may end up being the fifth seed in the Big Ten.
Like,
that's insane that we had that good of a season, and it's still like we're not even going to get a first round, like get that double bye. But
yeah, I mean, the double bye we will get. We've locked into a double bye. It's the triple bye. The triple bye.
Oh, okay.
So you can get the triple bye.
That's right. Yeah. There's more rounds now.
There's more rounds. The Big Ten tournament is crazy. So you can get a triple bye if Illinois finds a way to lose to Maryland tomorrow, which is, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. That would jump us into the 4 seed. But yeah, man, give me some thoughts today on today's game. What were some of the things that impressed you the most about what you saw today?
Well, I think the biggest thing you have to say about this game is Rapp and Bieliauskas stepping up. Like they combined for 33 points. That is incredible for the two of them to give us that type of production in a game where we knew we were coming in at a disadvantage to a good front court in Purdue. And for them to show up, they weren't great on the boards, but I thought defensively they played really well compared to what we saw in the first time we played Purdue. And they obviously offensively were very good. You had Bieliauskas in this one. He had some times when he was a little sloppy, but anytime you can get double digits in scoring from him, it's a big deal because he's not somebody I expect to be. Like, I expect him to do some grunt work and rebound a little bit. I don't expect him to go out there and get me 16 points.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that impressed me the most, and we're going to get into more specific players in our next segment, but I just want to talk about how we did exactly what we need to do against Purdue. We took what they would give us. They were switching all over the place. They were giving us open threes, and we did exactly what we needed to do. How many times, Justin, have we said, drive and dish, touch the paint and dish, put it inside and dish? Mm-hmm. Oh, big surprise. We were getting open threes because we were doing just that. Starting with a man that I'm going to talk about him here in this segment because I've been getting a lot of crap from a lot of Badger fans saying, you're too hard on John Blackwell. Listen, I'm going to tell you today that performance by John Blackwell is exactly the kind of John Blackwell that we should see every game. The aggressiveness, the downhill nature. He wasn't just, this team is, unless Purdue's not a great defensive team, but they're not bad. They have very experienced guards. They've got really experienced bigs. he was forcing the issue. He would get into the lane and then he would keep going. He wouldn't just stop and do something else. He would find a way to score, find the right pass. He was being aggressive with his shooting. Like this is the kind of John Blackwell that we need. Also defensively, right? Defensively, I thought he played really well on Braden Smith, chasing him around constantly. Like, I just feel like I was somewhat warranted with my criticism of John Blackwell, and a lot of people were, but there were some people that were like, no, you can't. I understand. I respect that. As we say, as Ryan always says, respecting all opinions here. But this, you can't tell me that John Blackwell can't give this kind of effort, because when he does, look at what we just saw. We can beat anyone in the country when our best players are playing like that. And this is an amazing performance. He deserves so much credit for the last 2 games, the way that he was kind of down in the dumps, Justin. But to have him come back and play like he did, I am so happy with John Blackwell and what we saw today. And cheers to that continuing through the postseason now.
What I'll say to that is I think that honestly, the criticism we've had on him is valid, because we're not looking at it through the perspective of, is he a Big Ten starter scoring? We're looking at it as a guy who went to the draft combine last year for basketball and was, dipping his toe in the NBA circles. So we have to look at him through that lens. If you put yourself into that category, we now have to look at you in terms of what you need to be if you want to play at that next level. And there are times this season where I think we looked at him and you're like, he's fine if we're talking about him on a college level. But if you want to be an NBA player, you got to be a star at the college level. You got to go out there and you've got to do all these little things that other players are going to be allowed to have times where they loaf a little bit on defense or whatever. That's got to be his calling card if he wanted to go to the NBA. Like, he's got to be a guy who's going to play really hard on defense. He's going to hit the threes, and he can occasionally drop in, a nice post move or something like that, because he's a physical, strong guy. Those aren't things that you are necessarily looking for from a regular player. But yeah, I do think that we were valid in our criticism of him, because we want to see him show that level of ability if that's what he truly wants to be. Yeah. And honestly, today he showed out. Like, this is the effort level we'd love to see on it from him every game. If he did, he probably would be getting some talk as a potential first round, maybe late first round type guy. But he probably could have put himself in the NBA if he played these type of games more consistently.
That's all for the Big 3 and 30 college. If you follow pro basketball or football, the Big 3 and 30 has shows for the biggest news in the NBA and NFL going up every weekday just like this one. Just search the Big 3 and 30 NBA or the Big 3 and 30 NFL wherever you're listening or watching now. Thanks again for tuning into the Big 3 and 30 college.